Uh, so this conversation again, thank you for all of you to join in. This is the sessions around. So we've completed 2 months. This is session number 9 that we're getting into. So it's been every Monday there's something or the other with Tribe of Coaches. So it's another space for us to sort of learn from collective experience and collective wisdom. So we are now more than 200 plus coaches, and more in the space of coming into many more coaches are able to jump in. And the whole idea is to share our collective experience. And one of the topics for today's conversation is the economics and the economy of being a coach. A lot of us feel very strongly that we invest a lot of money into coach training, but then we are not able to get as many clients as possible through whatever methods there are. So one aspect is a lot of us get into coaching. I heard from one of the older coaches that if somebody comes to him and says, "Hey, we want to become a coach," the first thing he tells them is don't. If they come back with a very strong answer that, I'm very much ready for whatever is happening in that particular sector. They ask you questions. They become better at understanding the sector. Then yes. So most of us who have come into coaching, at least from my experience, have had one or two experiences of being a coach or getting coached from the sector, and then said yes, we jump in. The other aspect is people have found coaching like me only after getting into coaching. So some of us have been sold the idea that coaching will give you a lot of money. So it is in a way a very interesting aspect. We've come to this expectation that as soon as I'm credentialed, I will make money. I think one of the first aspects to sort of work and walk out of as a belief is that as soon as you're credentialed, you will not make money. So, one of the first things I remember as a first time writer and a first time published poet was this: for you, your book is the first time ever, and it means the world to you. But for somebody else who's looking at it, it is one of those books published by hundreds of writers across hundreds of countries. And there are books on every genre that is competing with you, not just genre that you're writing in. For you, it is the most special of special books. But for everybody else, it almost is just another book that is there in the library, right? So they don't even know that you exist. So that is a harsh reality there is. So one aspect of your skill set is very important. A lot of us who come into coaching, uh, in terms of our own confidence in our skill set is missing, and sometimes our own overconfidence in our skill set is also two problems to work with at a coaching level. So a lot of us assume that yeah, okay, if I am able to work with say two or three clients, this is it, right? So
हाँ, एक तो गुफ अप मारता है और उसके ऊपर से उसका सफाई भी देता है साले। और यहाँ मैं
uh,
सोच रहा था तू साले अपने इंस्टीट्यूट पे बुलाएगा, गेस्ट लेक्चर करके रिटायर हो जाऊंगा तो मैं भोपाल जाऊंगा।
Ranjit,
हाँ,
anything that you want to add?
और उसके ऊपर से उसका सफाई भी देता है। और यहाँ मैं सोच रहा था तू साले अपने इंस्टीट्यूट पे बुलाएगा।
So Ranjit, unless you wanted to share something and you are unmuted, otherwise, yeah, I just muted you, assuming that you were sharing something else for somebody else.
माय बैड सॉरी आई डिडंट सी दैट।
Yeah. So, but the thing is, I am a lazy fellow. It will not get edited. It'll just
इट्स ऑलराइट, इट्स ऑलराइट।
no worries, no worries. So, yeah, and whatever I was sharing is in terms of our own skill set as coaches. Two aspects that we need to work with is that our skill set, is it good enough that it stands the test of time. Second is that am I not being overconfident about my own skill set? So two aspects to be very careful of as coaches first. Second is the understand that every business will take time for it to actually start making money. So if any of us are expecting us to be Instagram rich, it is not going to happen. And also the second aspect is if you're feeling that the other coaches have it easy, they're getting a lot of money, they're getting clients. Let me tell you, I am not getting too many clients as well. So it is not that I am bombarded with right, left, center clientele. So making money out of coaching is such a vast topic, right? So it again depends on when are you entering coaching as a sector. What are your credentials? How confident are you in that? How many people know that you exist? And how well is that particular segment working for you? And are you doing only coaching? Are you doing something else? What do the audience know you better as? Are you still stuck in terms of your branding in your older job? So there is no one answer that works for people. So for me, in terms of what has worked, is quite simply to be available and visible to people on a constant basis. So how can one be visible and available to somebody on a constant basis is a question that you'll have to answer. Right. So how are you available and how are you visible to your clientele? Also, do you know who your clientele is? So very early on, every of your coaching buddies will ask you, what is your niche? It pays to have a niche, but sometimes niche may not be something that you should always look at as a this thing. So you could have multiple niches, but what you should have always, the day you start looking at becoming a coach, is you should start building a brand in it. So when we say what is building a brand, the whole idea is to quite simply say, if I am saying Deepthi, as soon as somebody hears Deepti's name, it should be that Coach Deepthi, right? So that is a thing that should be the first thing that people remember about you. Are you able to build that as a space in your this thing? So that's where your social media come into play. So are you available and active on your social media? And is your social media relevant to the audience? And is your audience on that particular social media is very very important to remember. And as soon as I entered into coaching, one of the simplest understandings that I had was my clientele is not on Instagram and my clientele is not on not on Facebook. So I don't need to waste my time doing Instagram reels. My clientele is on LinkedIn. So that means that's where I'll have to be more active. So first aspect for you in your economics of becoming a coach is that are you at the right particular sector or the particular social media? Gone are those days where you're saying if you're a good coach, people will recommend you. That is not going to happen. For that to happen, you will have to always rely on the luxury of time. So for us right now, the challenge is also time. So our assumption is I get into coaching, I train, I get certified, and then I should get clients. It is not going to happen like that. None of your organizations work on that particular model. Second, so all of us get trained on how to be the coach as a skill set game. No training is there on how to make money out of coaching. So if you're not trained, how will you work on it? So again, pays to invest in a particular space of actually investing in your branding, actually investing in your marketing, and actually investing in a business strategy. So if you don't have a business strategy, then you're also putting yourself up there saying, "Oh, am I giving myself the 100% opportunity for myself to get clients?" And networking is again a crazy important aspect. A lot of us come under the assumption that networking is only about, or building a brand is only about working in the social media space. The brand is built on a daily basis, constantly built on what you are as an individual. It's called a personal brand. So, are you investing in building your personal brand, or your brand is built on your skill set? Right. So, if your brand is built on a skill set, is that a niche that people are ready to pay for, or people are coming to meet you? So, my journey has been very simple. I know for a fact that my charm is my USP. However, I tell people that I do coaching in Kannada, Hindi, and English, so that gives them versatility. Blah blah blah. I also say I use coaching and poetry together. I marry both of them, so that's an advantage I have. For individuals who don't know about coaching, it does not. It makes zero sense. It is for people who don't know about coaching that I have to reach out for. For them, they don't care. Their simple agenda is I know Sunil. Sunil is the coach. And if I need coaching, I will come to Sunil. So I am a generalist in so many ways. And I'm trying to work with an audience that goes to generalist first. So you don't go to a specialist a doctor directly. You go to your first family doctor. The family doctor puts you in touch with saying, hey, this is the guy I know. So you go there. Or this is a particular problem. I think in your space, go and work with that. So again, understand your audience. Is your audience coming to you because you are a subject matter expert? Or is the audience coming to you because they know you? My strategy and my understanding has always been my audience comes to me because they know me. So that means if I have to increase my audience, it is no brainer to increase the number of people I know. So in that space, how many of you are actively investing in the number of people that you know of? It could be on social media, it could be on in-person media, it could be on you getting yourself maximum opportunities to show yourself that I exist. It does not always mean number of followers on Instagram. So even if I have 10 followers and somebody else is 1 million followers, if they don't have any conversion from that 10 million followers, all that dancing and all that TikTok is waste. And right now, every other coach, every other mentor, every non-ICF coaches, anybody who's calling themselves a coach is making reels, is making training, is making some of this. They have better facilities. So for you to really stand out, what is the what is that factor that makes you stand out? Is that there is no other person that is you. So there's only one Niharika, there's only one Caroline, there's only one Jyoti, and your story matters. The client comes to you because the client likes you. As quickly as you understand that fact, you are able to make a difference in the way you're strategizing for your coaching. This is a method that has worked for me. It could work for you. It may not work for you. Right. So that is one of the things that you can take a call based on whatever is happening. Now, while I'm explaining the economics of coaching, there is no one single rule. There is no one single formula, and I can't say, okay, doing this will give you money right away. There is no right away in coaching. That is the simplest deal there is. People will come to you because they trust you. It will take time to build trust, and you will also give yourself that patience and bandwidth in time that says, okay, I will take so much of time. It will give me time. So one of our aspects is a skill set. The second aspect is our business mindset, and the third is patience. And you are basically building a tree, or you are basically nurturing a tree. A tree will give you fruit over many years of nurturing it. You can't expect instant results just like this. So our first problem as coaches is expecting instant results. The second aspect that you have to work on is your confidence in your skill set, saying, I have worked with such a big spectrum and now I am doing it, I am able to run confidently. Because right now our conversation is how many hours have I done? How quickly can I get to 100 hours? Quickly can I get to 500 hours? Not necessarily, am I learning new things in 500 hours? Am I learning new things in 100 hours? Am I getting better in my skill set in those hours? A lot of us are really afraid to invest in a mentor. I'm not telling you because I have a mentor, I'm selling you mentor coaching. But as soon as I started sitting in sessions, looking and observing other people's mentoring or other people's coaching, I knew I was a damn better coach than some of them because of the aspect that I bring into play. And I understood it is as much a skill set that everybody has learned. It is me and my individuality that I bring into coaching that also makes me a better coach or makes me a different coach than somebody else. So you will also have to invest in bridging that gap, saying, oh, how much of a diverse experience have you had that will allow you to say, okay, now I can take it up and say, I'm now sharing that, oh, I know all of this. I can take it up as a professional aspect. Second is understand very clearly why will people come to you. So they will come to you because they know you, they trust you, and that happens through constant writing on or constantly being available and constantly being visible and establishing yourself as somebody may not be a subject matter expert, may possibly also still a subject matter expert. So coaches, we've been told, are not subject matter experts. But in coaching, you are the subject matter expert. As a process guy or a process person of enabling coaching, you are a process matter expert. You may be not be a subject matter expert in say one of those, but you're a process matter expert. So put yourself out there that you are an expert in the process of coaching. So how will you build that? Talk about your experiences of coaching. You may not talk about each of those clients. And if you're telling that I helped doing this for XYZ as a person, I helped get the company to 200x, I helped somebody save marriage, I helped somebody with something else. It is basically a inviting other people with the same problems to come to you or the same situations to come to you. That way you have a clientele that is ready to come to you. But then they also come with an expectation that this person will deliver. So that it is almost a space saying, hey, now you are under pressure to deliver. And also check what sector are you trying to work with. I don't know how many of you have white hair. How many of you have corporate experience of more than 20 years? Right. So I have a bias. I have seen it live in most of the cases or I don't know if I am working with self-limiting belief. It will also happen in all three aspects and a merger of so many of these. That younger coaches find it difficult to break into the market. I think that is the real problem here. That your younger coaches who are not as experienced in a corporate sector as somebody else who's already there, but you are seeing their reality as your reality. And you're saying if they are able to do it, I should also be able to do it. But they are able to do it because they have put 10, 15 years of more life experience into it. And hence, more people know about them, more people trust them, and they are able to build a network based on the connections that they've already built and then get their coaching hours or and then get their clientele. So again, you'll have to be very clear, is your client a corporate client? The corporates will pay you very high, but cracking that is a very difficult ballgame. Or are you going to go with individual clients who have difficulty in paying you as much as the corporate will pay you? But then there is a lot more consistency availability of these people. And third, do you see a combination of both corporate working for you and this working for you? So if it is a combination of those two, you will have to decide what combination works for you. And for that, you can take it up to coaching as well, or go to a mentor, go to a counselor, or sorry, no, go to a mentor, business mentor, not necessarily mentor, coach, or go to a business mentor, and then say yes, take it up from there. And also look at how much are you ready to invest, where is your money coming from. Do an audit of your funds. Who is the target sector that you want to work with, and also to sit down and say, of all the clients that I worked with, who have paid me, right? So my journey when I started my coaching, I did coaching for 1 rupee first. Then I started to charge 100 rupees. Then I started to charge 250. I moved to 500, then 750, then 1000, then 2500, then 5000. And now generally I charge as on 3rd of March 2025. I charge 100 to $125 per hour. Nazar mat lagao, please. Right. So why I'll tell you that is that most of them that I reached out to never told me the rates that they were charging. So I had to rely on what I felt was my gut instinct saying I can't go below this. And with every coaching conversation and and the number of people that I worked with, it became very clear that I was undercharging like crazy. Like for somebody who was paying me 250 rupees an hour, that's hardly 3 USD. I felt I was doing a lot more and getting a lot less. So I said, hey, this is a number that I'm not ready to go below. Know your number. There could be a range that you're okay with, right? For friends, there's something. For family, there's something. For friends of friends, there's something. For corporates, there's something. For new people, there is something. Keep a range that gives you a bandwidth of saying how this is where it is. Secondly, invest in yourself. Get a business mentor. Get a mentor coach and build on your skill set. Put yourself in spaces where you're uncomfortable. And if you're taking pro bono coaching, even after you do 500 hours or do your 100 hours, you are not undervaluing yourself by giving it pro bono. If you do it from an intention, if you do it strategically, such that you are able to get newer clientele and newer experiences. So if your ROI is newer experiences, newer target sectors, then don't worry about giving free. So free is also giving you value. So look at what are you getting value out of, what is that you're gaining from some of this. And let me be very, very frank, the more number of people that know you, the more is your coaching, more is the possibility of clientele coming to you. And give people a possibility to experience coaching. Then is when people will be like, oh, Niharika is good at her job. Deepti is good at her job. Abhinet is good at her job. I think I like it. Let me try it out. So I will give you three instances where it worked for me. Right. So March 2023, I decided 22 August is where I decided to I'll become a coach. March, I had already finished approximately 300 hours. Then I got into this aspect that okay, let me do an aspect of women's month. The entire month I'll offer free coaching or pro bono coaching. Free is a bad word for it, right? So I'll offer pro bono coaching. I got connected to possibly 15 clients that particular, say, 10 to 12 clients. Out of which, six of them continued onwards to complete 3 sessions, and none of them became paid clientele. Right. So if I had to look at it, it looks like a failure because I've given 15 people coaching and none of them become paid clientele. There. But now I had 15 or 12 members who could vouch that Sunil is not bad at his job. Right. So they could give me testimonials. And at any point of time, if somebody asked them saying, you know what, I need a coach, who would they first call upon? Sunil. And these are strategically people not from corporate. These are strategically people not from corporate, right? So they were from a sector that was not corporate. They were from a sector that nobody in the corporate sector or the elderly coaches or the more experienced coaches did not bother about. So I was trying to work with people who work in the NGO sector, people who work in the teaching sector, people who are say uh, entrants to an engineering college, people who are in their first 4 to 5 years of college, of work. So there, I was playing the volume game. So you will also have to decide saying, hey, you know, am I doing all of this? If I am doing all of this and I'm not getting responses, then there's something wrong with the process that you're doing. But if you're not doing this process at all and wishing that because I'm a credentialed coach, because I'm a trained coach, somehow the world owes you clients. That is like, yeah, the lion is not charging you because it is you are vegetarian. Hey, that doesn't happen. So accept the reality that you're not going to get clients by sitting in one corner of the world and saying, I'm a coach, I'm a credentialed coach. No. The 65,000 plus credentialed coaches across ICF and possibly 5,000 plus, I guess my numbers may not be most accurate, but 5,000 plus coaches across India. And in your own countries, yes, you know, possibly for Caroline, it could be a different number, possibly for Ambinet, it could be a different number. So one is either there are too many coaches and too less people, which may not be the case, considering India is full of billions of people. So how many of them are in a target sector who can work with your numbers? Right? I have a target saying I need to make X amount of money through coaching. So if I have a plan, simple plan saying I need to make 5 lakh rupees per year out of coaching. If that is my target, that means I have to then backtrack and say if 5 lakh is this thing, how many clientele will give me 5 lakh? So if I have to then say, okay, 50 clients will give me 5 lakh, that means my clientele will possibly give me 10,000 overall. I think my mathematics is right. So they'll have to give me 10,000 overall per coaching. So you will decide saying if I am giving if one client is giving me 10,000, how many sessions do I offer the client? 5 sessions, 2 sessions, 1 session, and then say, oh, is the target sector am I working with? Do they have the pay parity? Do they have the pay capacity? And also, just because you're ICF certified or any other organization certified, the client does not care unless you're showing results. And the client will ask you, do you show me testimonial, show me something that will give me confidence. So just because your credential, just because whatever got you into coaching, you could the world does not care. The faster you realize that your story does not matter as to how you became a coach, why you are a coach, to the client, it does not matter. Then you realize, oh, I have to change the way I'm looking at it. Now I have to work with the client's needs, and they're no longer my need. So my need is to be a credentialed coach because we've been told credentialed coaches have a higher possibility of getting clients. But I see so many of them YouTube coaches who are not credentialed, who have zero idea what NLP is, who have zero idea what ICF is, who are minting money, or at least giving you the impression that they're minting money. Just because somebody is making a YouTube ad, just because somebody has made a crazy, beautiful video, does not mean that they're making money. You will also have to decide as a coach, do you want quick money or do you want to make money in the long term? Quick money, there like, I'll tell you how to make. Quick money is simple. You put a training program, pay around uh, quite a number of quite a number of people to get you numbers of people. Randomly write them a message on YouTube or sorry on WhatsApp. 80% of will people will already block you, and the other percentage in the 80 will also not be real numbers. Other 20% you work with them. So 10,000 numbers you work with 2,000, and they will respond to you. Send them a training material or send them a this thing that says, oh, I will give you a free training or a free this thing. Keep one or two messages that talk to them about the benefits of coaching, and then offer a free webinar. Out of 2,000, possibly 500 may jump in, 25%. Out of 500, give 100 people a chance that they can register for a 299 webinar. If you're really good at what you're selling, that 500 to 100 conversion can happen, or it could be 500 to 50, right? So you do a webinar, somebody joins up, and then you work with them, give them some more conversations, and then give them a taste of what coaching looks like, and then say, you know what, I take 25,000 a month. If you feel good enough, come back and be ready for rejections. Because at the end of the day, the client is paying their hard-earned money to something that they don't even know will work, because you say, I can't guarantee results. I will not give you answers. You will have to figure out your own way. You will have to figure out accountability. I will only sit here, ask questions. So very uncomfortable stance for a clientele, saying, how can I trust this person to help me get what I want to get? And on top of that, they're asking for such a high price. And just because some other country sets it up in terms of dollars, you can't expect the same thing in your own country. You will have to do your research and saying, is this a sector of whatever I'm working? Will it work? And if I now say today I will be a CEO coach, the first question people will ask me saying, how many CEOs have you coached? And if I say I haven't, then how will somebody respond to that? Why will somebody make it a point? Another aspect which I use is I grow with my age group. So my age group of working with clientele is 25 to 35. In every year that they grow, I also grow. And they become, right now they are individual contributors. For another 2 or 3 years, they become managers. For another 4 to 5, this thing, provided AI does not disrupt everything else, they become higher in their food chain of corporate. And then because I know them and because I positioned myself in such a way that I am their friend, I will always be a option that they will consider for in case they need coaching for themselves, for their family, for their cousins, and for their own organization. In those years, I built trust. So I am playing a very long game, and that's why I'm a lot more happy that, oh, it is not going to work out straight away. So rejections are happy for me. So because when I get rejections, it's a very clear indication saying either the process is wrong or the person that I'm reaching out to is wrong. Because at the end of the day, in the business of coaching, your skill set comes secondary. It's almost an assumption that you are a good coach. People will not pay you because you are a good coach. There are hundreds of good coaches out there. And now with ChatGPT coming in, the standard questions that you're answering will be out of the equation because ChatGPT can take over your bare minimum coaching experience. But then that also opens up that space saying that because ChatGPT is coming in, because people will use ChatGPT first, you can make your services premier. For you to make your self services premier, you will have to invest in your own self, in your own skill set, in your own branding, and your own confidence as a coach saying, I am good enough with whatever I'm doing. I can take on some of those. Most of our coaches are either overconfident or underconfident. There is no 100% right level of confidence or right range of confidence coaches. So you're overconfident because you say, I'm a credentialed coach, I will do anything. And so, the other aspect is you will end up becoming a consultant or a mentor to a lot of them because the audience that you're working with to a large extent is not ready for you to not ready for coaching as a format. I can vouch for that in Indian contingency with the age group that I work with. They're like, what solutions will you give me and when? So if so, you will have to see whether that works. So anybody jumping into coaching full time, I'd say please, take your time. I mean, 100% confident of your financial abilities and financial understandings because it is not an easy process. And just because you're credentialed, just because you come from the greatest of previous backgrounds, the client does not care about it and say, oh, just because he's a Harvard return and a PCC, I will go to him or her. The client does not care. The client is as Indian as they get. Say, black mileage kitna deta hai? How much am I getting out of this? What's my ROI out of this? If I don't see ROI, I don't invest. So if you want more people to invest in it, show them the returns. Talk to them about your journey as a coach or your journey as a client. Saying what was the journey you went through, what are the changes you went through. So you can always say, I am one of the reasons where this is there. And how I knew this works is one of my former managers called me after 2 years and seeing my LinkedIn and said, Sunil, you've changed a lot in 2 years. The person that you were when you quit the organization, the angry young man that you were, so now the person that you are is a crazy level of shift. So when you show to the world the actual transformation you've had, and you don't show it because you should show it for social media, but it is evident for everybody, automatically people will start believing in what this is, right? And also another question for you to ask is how many of your relatives who don't know anything about coaching know that you are a coach? If the numbers are low, then there is something for you to go look back and check. Because people outside your coach network are the ones who are going to pay you for coaching. Look at how many non-coaches are reacting on your LinkedIn profile or a LinkedIn post. How many non-coaches are you reaching out to talk about coaching? Because if that number is less, then obviously your number of clientele will be less. And what's your clientele's user profile, user persona? Where are they? What do they do? What is the amount of money that they're making? Are there people who are investing? Are there places where no one else, the coach, has entered that you would like to enter? Yeah. So thanks, Pushkar. I take that compliment. Pushkar says, hands down, this is the best session I've attended on the topic, even compared to a couple I've actually paid for. Okay. So, Pushkar, I think I should take it up saying I will do a paid session for you to uh, help you become better coaches. So that's a very interesting idea. Let's pilot that sometime soon.
You can
So
deduct it
Mark,
from the money you're going to pay me once I don't start getting clients after this.
wow, wow, yeah. See that is the confidence that one should have, saying, "Hey, you know what? I am doing that." So I've always had that confidence in my skill set, my abilities as a coach, and also it depends on how you portray yourself when you sit in a coaching call. Who you are as an individual, what is your individual journey that has actually got you here is maybe not visible to the client, but it is visible to the client as well. Saying how you enter a coaching call, how you talk to them, and make it happen. And if your client is coming to a chemistry call, that means somehow your marketing and branding is working. So don't look at it saying, "Oh, I am getting people to me, but they don't pay me." So it's not the end of the world. It's still working for you in one aspect or the other, and that aspect is that it is giving you a response, or people are responding to you. That means somehow, somewhere there is a resonant factor to what they're responding to. So if you are able to tap that factor, you'll get more people come into you, right? So it is at that game at that point a game of probability, a game of chances. So if 100 people are responding to you, possibly 10 people will go to the next level of even actually having a conversation beyond the chemistry club, and some of them will drop out because the economics are wrong, or economics don't work out. If it does not work out, if the clientele says I may not work for this pricing, and you know another coach in your space who may be in the journey of credentialing, who is okay with that price range, pass it on to somebody, because coaches are not competition. If you pass on to somebody something like that, so if I am charging say 10,000 per hour, and if somebody says, Sunil, I can't pay you more than 100 rupees, I will pass it on to somebody who's doing their ACC credentialing, saying, hey, you know what, have an experience here. And the person I have done sent it to will also be looking at me saying, hey, in case they over a period of time become amazing coaches, said Sunil has done something for me. And if something else comes along, they'll always pass. And I have had contracts and coaching contracts come to me purely on that aspect, saying they knew that I was a good coach and they got a lot of volume base and they wanted somebody who can handle this. And that is where your peer coaches are also a resource for you. Don't do peer coaching for the sake of hours. Because that's a waste of time. Do peer coaching and also build rapport with peer coaches. And don't think of coaches as competition. The moment you look at them as collaborators, the entire ball game changes. Because then you're looking at, okay, my strengths and their strengths. If I am doing executive coaching for about people above 45, and somebody else is doing executive coaching from 25 to 40, you can always collaborate, because you don't want to dilute your brand, and you know this person is not going to take over your brand. Work with some of them, and then invest in networking, specifically in multiple aspects of expanding your network beyond coaches. Try and see who else can come into the play where a coach is involved. So for a coach to be involved, there is possibly an HR learning and development requirement, and that's how corporates will take it. For a coach to be involved, there is possibly a corporate trainer that you can work with, because the trainer is not going to do coaching and the coaching is not going to do trainer, right? And then possibly also look with a business mentor, saying, sir or ma'am, you do the business mentoring part, I will do the leadership mentoring, I'll do the coaching part. Can you strategically look at talking to some of those professionals and say, build a rapport with them and say, this is what I am, this is my skill set. Show them a glimpse of your skill set and say, you can trust me to deliver on what I say I will deliver, when I'll deliver, and the same quality that I've said I'll deliver at the same time. So if you're able to crack that, fantastic. For you to crack that, possibly it may need you to invest initially. And let's be fair, for 22 years we studied, at least in India, at least with engineering. For 22 years, your parents put money into an education system, and then it started to give you money after 22. So it will take you time. There's a investment on the learning, and be open to fail. There could be projects that will tank, like zero. Nothing will come out of that. But you're looking at it as a failure versus a learning are two different attitudes. So I've talked about skill set, I've talked about attitude, I've said business, I've talked about coaches is not competitions. And yeah, I think I am just talking out of experience, nothing big there. And I could, it may not work for you. It may also work for you. But what you should figure out is what will work for you. And for all those peer coaches who are struggling to say, oh, I don't have topics to take to peer coaching, take your business to peer coaching, work it out with another peer coach. Right? So you are getting value for your own peer coaching. They are getting output. So they're trying to work with you. And then you are getting value out of it. You are not taking a random simple topic to coaching and say, I just want an hour. I need my hours. I'll take some random topic to coaching and be like, ah, chalo, that's it. End of story. You're taking a topic that is worth for you. And your business is something that is huge, right? You can take even 60 to 70 hours of coaching over a period of 3 months on your business. That means your business is improving, you're getting PR hours, and they are getting value to work with you. So three very interesting things happen out of that. Hmm. So I will pause here for questions. Otherwise, it will become a monologue.
Sunil, I
So
just
then
like to
I
add one point on the peer coaching that you said about.
Yes, sir.
So I'm sure I've done peer coaching with some of the folks on the call, and I'm just agreeing with what you just said, right? Because I've done peer coaching worth roughly around 230 hours in the last 7 months.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, and business has been one of the main topics of discussion. Probably some of the coaches have got bored of it by now, but it continues because I always just have something which says that that's the only thing on my mind and it has to be genuine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so you can also experiment with taking topic of the same light to multiple coaches because every coach will ask you, at least the good coach will ask you different questions. They'll not go through a format, and
Yeah,
not all coaches are the same. This thing, so you will get multiple outputs
correct.
out of that. But stay true to the coaching space. You will get your responses. You will get to work on it. You will get to share, and there's always collective wisdom to reach out to, saying, "Hey, Pushkar, what worked for you? Marika, what worked for you?" Always.
Yeah.
Superb. And Pushkar, so what made you write that this is the best session that you have ever attended? So I am asking you what question.
So I think the way you are delivering is very no nonsensical because we've heard of sales pitches, we've heard of fancy ways to get business, and generic statements like your network is your net worth. No, so we all know that, right? And I've been in corporate for 26 years. I give Gyan as my main business. So when somebody is giving me Gyan, I get to know of it. But I think this was a very non-nonsensical and very down to earth approach that you've taken and very realistic. So that's what I liked.
Superb. Thank you. Thank you for that. So I think it is a no nonsense approach that your client has. The client is not going to be jazzed with all the reels and all the posters and all the other paraphernalia that you're going to be putting out there. So client also feels a need to connect to you because of who they are. So to a large extent, you connect with your client. The clientele connects with you on some resonant basis or the other, and figure that out. And always have a balance that says, oh, something else can also give me money if coaching is not working this month. And that's something that I built. So I very strongly got to know that one-to-one coaching will not pay my bills month on month. And that's how it went out into mentoring. Then it slowly got into train the trainer. Then it got into observational classes. Then possibly monetizing some of the workshops. And if you are a young coach, if you have time bandwidth, please give coaching time. The more time you are able to give coaching, the coaching will give you faster. And every amount of time that you're spending in coaching, consider it as an investment. Because investment, if not there, then it is going to take you longer time. So it's basically that if you have 100 things to do. If you do two things a day, it'll take you 50 days. If you do one thing a day, it'll take you 100 days. If you do four things a day, it'll take you 25 days. So it is how much time you are giving this.
Sunil, how
Uh,
important is it to have a website?
I don't have a website. I have been told by thousands of people that oh, unless you have a website, people will not take you serious. It's unprofessional. Personally, I counter bullshit them saying, don't give me BS. I've got clients like this. LinkedIn is where people find me. Most of the times, LinkedIn is where people find me.
So it is not about trusting or having professionalism. I met some entrepreneur. She's not in coaching, another
Mhm.
industry, but she says it is very important to have a website because to have an online presence today is one of the most important things. How
I
does
will
how how do
I will
people
tell you
search?
of and tell you a very interesting story. Okay, since I've gotten into the business, I know of in the last 7 to 8 months, I have met possibly 600 to 700 entrepreneurs. All of them make lakhs of money, right? So none of them do have a website. I know of particularly tuition teachers, right? So they don't have a website, word of mouth. First time one kid, second year two kids, third year four, fifth year 10, and they built it like that. I know of somebody in my own apartment who day in and day out, every day 6 o'clock in the morning, she says idli is ready for anybody who wants to come in and make money. So it doesn't have a website. Decent enough sales every day. And more every time 6 o'clock message, I know who that person is sending it. Consistency matters more than your website. All jazz on the website and all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy or whatever that is. So if your website is great, if your online presence is great, and your offline presence is like then it is for the client. So you should always have a balance between is your skill set good and your online presence is also good. That's the best combination. If your skill set is good, online presence is zero, people will not find you, or you should be okay with people finding you in their own time. So it's a trade-off between having a good website or slash good visibility and good skill set. So if is the website the only place where the people will go, and if you were to do a peer coaching with somebody, or I think it also brings up the fact saying how will you go to a client person and make it, or how will you buy things? So your psychology of buying will also come into play. So that's the thing that you have to look at in terms of saying, hey, is it going to give me better visibility? Is website the only thing that gives you visibility? Is it the only thing that gives you business? Then, like I am from Bangalore, and hundreds of thousands of rupees get transacted in Kapanpet or this KR Road market. It's a 10 by 10. Loads of business. None of them have a website. Some of them don't even have these fancy computers that will tabs help is like, okay, this is the amount of money. How many small hotels that you know of have websites? They are able to make truckloads of money. There should be something else there. Digitally, if you're there, if you don't have a presence, that's a problem. If you have a consistent and constant presence, absolutely, it works anywhere. It should work anywhere. And contribution from the website is also important. What is the website contributing to? It should not become more carbon emissions. I don't know if I answered your question, Deepti.
No, you've given your views. It was not a question. It was a question, but basically, I've heard this varying views so much that it's difficult to make a decision.
Yeah. It is a choice that you will have to take and live by that choice. I have made a very conscious choice. I will not do a website. The people are like, oh, is that a problem with investment? We can get a website done in 10,000. Like, no, it's not an investment of 10,000. It's not a money thing. it does not resonate to my values to have a website.
It's actually
I
nowadays, and to begin with, have free also. There are free
There
platforms.
are a lot of free platforms. See, LinkedIn is the freest platform. People are already there on LinkedIn. Makes sense to be there where people are already there. So now you're creating a website and then asking more people to be like, chalo, comments, look at my website. How many of them will do that? Now you have WhatsApp. All you can do is all of us exchange numbers on WhatsApp. You can say, hey, here's my LinkedIn. They are connected. And if you're consistent on LinkedIn, you keep on appearing in multiple people's places. Right? In the last 3 years or whenever WhatsApp status came along, there's possibly never been a day where my WhatsApp status has been Kali. It's always something or the other. So LinkedIn also, some of my friends who come to LinkedIn only to find a job, they're like, Sunil, how many posts have you written? Why do you keep writing so much? I feel like, oh, I have three to write, but I only write one a day because I feel my audience will not be able to take it. So it's about being there consistently and sticking to what you see is your value system. If your value system says do a website, do it. But don't do it because everyone is doing it. Do it with a plan. Do it strategically. It does not align, then don't do it. Make anything else work. Manoj, you had raised your hand.
Hi, Sunil.
Yes,
Hi,
Manoj.
Sunil. So we are from Calcutta.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, our reach is outside Calcutta because Calcutta is
Mm-hmm.
a big bag. So I also had a similar doubt in my mind that unless we have a social presence, how will people how will people contact us or be known to? How will they know me that I'm available?
Mm-hmm.
So LinkedIn is of course there, but apart from that, like give an example. I was talking to somebody in Chandigarh who's also into cooking, and I asked him, where is the biggest market for coaching? He will be surprised. Is the moms of young kids. They are most confused how to handle the kids. So they said parenting is a huge market. And those ladies will not go to LinkedIn. That's what he explained to me. And and here we have so many beautiful ladies here. Ladies are very rich. They can spend money. We men think a lot, They just very kind. So they are good clientele. So the idea is that LinkedIn is for professionals and that category. But for people who are not in LinkedIn, also there are a good bunch of clients. Do you agree with me,
Ah,
or does it make sense?
absolutely, absolutely, Manoj. I think that is where your definition of who is my target audience makes such a strong statement. If say moms of students, if that's a space that you want to coach, then your brochure should be on top of every school,
Yeah.
right? So you know where your audience is. You go to that audience and pitch to the audience,
Yeah.
and that is as simple as it is. So our understanding of saying, "Hey, I love to work with this client." As soon as we have that figured out, yes, obviously, then it is just about figuring it out. How will I get there? We
That's
will
very
not talk
important, I
about
think.
anything
Yeah.
else.
Very important to have a fixed, thing in mind where you are heading. Otherwise, you are, beating about the bush. You have to specialize in some given lines. I think,
So that's one of the easiest methods of marketing, right? So and again, every strategy, depending on the person, the way they are. Uh, I don't want to do a multi-level marketing scheme for coaching. I said, I will give you time. I am good at what I'm doing. You take your time, and whenever you're ready, I am here. I'll take it up. So I am playing on that particular game, and I'm saying I'm not going to do MLM. But there are other coaches who are saying I will reach out to my target audience. I will offer them at a low bono and say I'll play the volume game. That's okay. me. There are other coaches who are saying, I will still work to that particular place, but I'll work with only a very niche audience. Right? So there are hundreds of brands that do biscuits. Every brand is getting sales. So somewhere out there is a differentiating factor. So like that, we'll have to see what differentiates us in the same sector as well. Right? So you could be, you know, how do your audience resonate with you is the most amazing fundamental aspect. So I can't go, even though I can actually make it. So if I'm going and saying I'm a parental coach, the first thing they'll ask me is how many kids. Right? So that's the audience's first reaction. So you'll have to look at it from an audience. You'll have to see, okay, which customer care that called you. You actually spoke for more than 5 minutes and they ended up buying the product. So how many people, so that means they got the right target audience to work with you and they've done their homework. So we will have to do our homework in terms of what is our clientele. So where is our clientele? And then build on your strengths as an individual. Don't look at saying, oh, I'm not good at it. Can I do something like that? So some of them are, some of the other coaches are saying that, at least also I have a very conscious problem of saying I'll be very conscious when a camera is switched on. Right? And if people are not there, I can't talk to a blank screen. I'm like, that's the most irritating thing for me to do. And some of them are very, very conscious of it, and some of them are very confident about it. I can talk to a wall and chalta hai. It is still okay. So you will have to play on your strengths. You will have to know what your ball game is, and then take it from there. And that's how I chose to answer this question, saying our social media is important, but our target segmenting also becomes important because at the end of the day, we're running a business.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. So Pooja is doing anybody doing group coaching? How's the experience? Pooja, I don't have the answer for that. I don't do group coaching. Uh, but yeah, I think I can connect you with, yeah, Dharmesh has already responded. Okay. Dharmesh has responded. There's Preeti, there Rachel. There are multiple people I know who do doing coaching and group coaching. I can always connect you with them. And you can always, yeah, Dharmesh is very good. Yeah. So you can always reach out to individuals. That's what we mean by the power of collective wisdom. Right? People are there who have experiences that are diverse, that are interesting. You can reach out to them and again distill every conversation and say, will it work for me? Because it may have worked for them, but it may not work for you. So you'll have to figure out what works for you. What's your journey? And where are you with your journey? And how you're making your journey work. And yeah, first thing you have to let go of is just because you're certified, just because you're good, nobody's going to come and say, knock on your door and say, Sunil, coach me, please. I heard you're good. So it won't work out like that. And if you already are having a full-time job and you want to get into coaching, make sure you invest in that coaching skill set and then get into it. Because the outside world shows no mercy. In a corporate world, you're bound by 30 days, whether you work or not, they'll pay you money. But in an outside world, it's a cutthroat competition. So, any questions? Was it good? Was it interesting? Any other feed forward? Go for it.
So yeah, so just
Yes,
wanted to
Ramesh.
add a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
So one is we're mentioning like the gray-haired people or the people who have a lot more experience make more money, right? So few of the things that I want to add, right? As a coach, you are not just competing with ICF coaches in that sense, right? Counseling, mentoring, as well as training workshops are there. And those are the things which people from HR are easy to sell. So that's the other thing. I have talked with many of the executive coaches or people who are near the retirement or after the retirement age. Yeah, they say they are coaching, but many of them are actually in the mentoring space. And being in the corporate space, I know that when HR asks for a coach, and coaches are only for the executives. HR has a specific criteria that person should be from this industry. It has to be at this level. And then I asked them, okay, are you looking for a coach or a mentor? And this is where again the HR also, although they say it as a coaching, they are looking more or less for a mentor. Okay. So again, it is not something that you restrict yourself to just an ICF coaching, because as you mentioned, it is not easy thing for people to understand, but it is only the result that talk about it as a value. Yeah. So that was the one thing I wanted to
Yeah,
add.
absolutely. And it does not mean the coaches who are doing executive who are, possibly in my own words, gray haired and that particular thing is not easy for them also. And
Yeah.
so their challenges are their challenges, and our challenges are our challenges. So it is a space where all of us are figuring it out on our own. But again, your journey is figure out what works for you, and don't get disheartened because of rejections. I think rejections are part and parcel again, and look at it as a mathematical equation than emotional equation. So it has to be given a lot more logical, saying, "How okay, 100 people that I reached out to, 10 of them have responded, one of them will come for a chemistry call. Simply one will work out. And if it didn't work out, then go for a higher range of set. 100 people to 200, 200 to 500. Keep yourself going. And if at any point of time it's not working out, ask for help from collective wisdom. You'll find out. Sometimes you'll get such a bad advice, you'll be like, I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's fine. So that also works.
So just an example, like some people reach out to me that, okay, now they have lost the job or they're looking for a change. Should I do coaching? I say, okay, do you want something full time or part time? Because people are so used to being in the full time this thing. I said, coaching is a part time thing. It's not a full time, at least when you start with. So
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And because I started with this saying I'm a full-time coach. So so when I say that my 100% efforts is going into coaching and making coaching work for me. And very quickly I realized coaching is not the only thing that will work. So coaching is like building is like nurturing a tree. The tree will eventually give me results, but I'll have to survive on my own farm. And so I started then building, smaller permaculture. So basically it is coaching. When you're working as a coach full time, it is permaculture. So one month something else gives you money, another month something else gives you. So don't invest in only one. So bring all of your other skill set as into play as well. So combine it with coaching. Yeah, so that's an advantage that you will get. And at the end of the day, you want financial freedom. Does not matter whether it only comes through coaching or comes through coaching and other sources. Right. So yeah, I hope I have made justice to this conversation. And if there are further questions, yeah, we are always reachable on the tribal coaches. Hmm. Okay. Next week I'll do a live. Again, possibly I don't know whether I'll demonstrate PCC markers or not, but next week there'll be a live. 17th, we have a guest coming in. She's going to be talking about assessments and coaching. So she's the connoisseur of coaching, Gayatri Krishnamurthy. So she's done a lot of assessments, and she's a quite an amazing person and very experienced in the coaching sector as well. And 24th, we have Govind, who's going to be talking about how hypnotherapy and coaching can exist together. So that's an interesting ball game. So we will keep this as part of whatever is happening in March, April. We will see when we get to April. So yeah, in case you feel that other coaches in your network can come and find inspiration in the tribe of coaches, write to them and have them contact me, and then add them to the group after a conversation. That's that for today, and unless anybody has a question, nothing. Caroline, you've been smiling all along. Any questions? Anything that you would like to add? Super. Oh. Okay, so that's that for today then. Thank you for your time, and we will catch up next Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you then. See you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sunil.